Hi, everybody. Jocelyn Florence Astrology here. And today I want to talk to you about what is going on for Ireland in 2025. And I'm kind of sorry to say that it looks like a challenging and conflicted year with this absolute one magical, like saving grace that can really help to lift these challenges into a whole incredible, beautiful, magical new beginning. So let's go through that and let's start with the big picture. Now, the big picture is that this year, 2025, now most of you will probably know something about astrology in that we are moving from the age of Pisces, the old age, into the new age, the age of Aquarius. Now, 2025 is absolutely the pivotal year of that transition because we have the three outer planets changing signs. And these are affecting the Irish chart in a really, I'm going to say, both intimate and challenging way. So this really tells me that I'm going to say it's almost like the battle for the new age is going to be very much played out on the Irish soil. Now, partly this is described by I'll just dive into the aspects that this is described by, and what we have is a doubling in the chart, and this is between the planets Uranus here, the great awakener, the revolutionary, the freedom fighter, the new age, the new way, versus Saturn, limitation, control, old order, things need to stay stable, we need strong boundaries. So these two planets, like you can see in the Irish chart, they are in square. Now we have transiting Uranus in square to natal Saturn, and we equally have natal Saturn transiting Saturn in square to natal Uranus. And in fact, this is a T square with the moon, even more challenging because the moon is the people. So this and what's really fascinating is that both Saturn and Uranus, they rule the new age. They rule Aquarius. And it's rather like there's going to be a battle for who rules the new age. The new age is coming in this year, but how is it going to be? Is it going to be ruled by, is it going to be full of strong structures and boundaries and laws and um, power over and control, or is it going to be ruled by Uranus? As I said, the freedom fighter, the great awakened personality. Uranus rules science and technology and all the new different technologies which are going to be uncovered this year. So it looks like both of these are you in the aspect of square, which is the aspect of challenge. So this tells me that Ireland is going to be a battleground for how the new age emerges between those who want, as I say, top-down power over, or freedom to be an individual, freedom to do what you want. And this battle will be played out very strongly on the Irish soil. Now, there are a couple of indications that, well, I think what is going to happen is that Uranus will win. Uranus, the freedom fighter, the awakened ones, Uranus will most definitely win because Uranus is the outer, more slow-moving planet, but Saturn, Lord of law and order and authority, first time he's going to really this year he will be trying to control how the new age comes in and how so this we're talking restrictions on the internet, restrictions on, and we've had the hate speech laws, you know what I'm talking about. So absolutely, Ireland is crucial. This land is going to be a crucial battleground for how humanity proceeds forwards into the new age. Now, I'm going to say this is quite an age-old battle for Ireland simply because in the natal chart, Saturn up here, let me see if I can get that for you. Saturn up here, actually, there is a yod to Saturn and a grand trine. Okay, so this yod here, this is like excuse me, a misunderstanding. Not only that, you see, Saturn up here represents the authority figures who, the leaders. in the country, the people who impose their power. And as you can see by this beautiful grand trine, I mean, there's a way in which this works really well and harmoniously. However, there's a couple of very challenging things going on. First of all, we had the Yod, which is a planet at the top of the Yod here, Saturn, the leaders, they behave at their very worst. The planet at the top of the Yod behaves at its very worst until it turns around and in all in a moment, in a sudden transformation, we get it. And it becomes that magical degree, and we it becomes really positive. So the potential here for turnaround is huge. Now, equally, Saturn is at 29 degrees of Leo, and 29 degrees. These are called the critical degrees at the ending and new beginnings of a sign. Now, Saturn, and when we have a planet at that 29-degree point, again, it behaves at its very worst until it becomes that magical degree of turnaround, because we comprehend the problem. Therefore, we just do the opposite. Well, this, and I have to say, Saturn authority figures 29 degrees of Leo. Not only is this a person who is up there to impose top-down power for, because they can, but they also have the arrogance to think they're absolutely right in doing so. And this really describes, well, this describes the political figures in the country. Now, so we've got this real battle going on this year between but excuse me, I'll go back to the transit, Bible transits. There we go. New transit date, lovely. Uh Between the people here, Uranus and Saturn. Now, Uranus doesn't, I'm going to say Uranus, the people, he doesn't actually get to this point here. This is the cardinal point. If this is the ascendant, the I am point, this represents the people and the country. This represents kind of outside influences. And what's quite interesting is that next year, Uranus will, I'm going to say, he kind of raises his head over the parapet. Everything beneath this line tends to be a bit hidden. So it looks like whilst there is revolution and the people are, I'm going to say, very driven to take their power, this doesn't actually become apparent until next year. And yet the battle is very strong because, as I say, it's repeated. And here we have it, Saturn, as I say, top-down authority figures, leaders in the country, that they are challenging both Uranus, the awakened one, the new way of doing things, which is opposite to the people, the moon, the true desire of what the people want. So this is the battle that's going on, and I'm going to say this is going on for the next 2 years, really, because what we have is, I mean, back to that big picture, we have we have three outer planets changing sign. So I mean, this is a time of endings and new beginnings for us, both personally and for the world with rocks on, because these outer planets move very, very slowly. I mean, this has never happened before in recorded history. The last time we know it happened, we had two outer planets changing sign, and that actually became the Renaissance quite extraordinarily. So like I say, the magic and the potential for transformation here is extraordinary. And I think I'm going to take you, as I say, this is a year of challenge. But when we look back, I mean, we're all getting on a bit, most of us. But when we look back at our life, it's always those times of, it's almost like the darkest before the dawn, that kind of thing. Because when we go through those deep, challenging times, we have to transform. Much is revealed that we must let go of, and equally there new doors open. So this is for the Irish state, this is such a time of endings and new beginnings, in the same way that it is for the world, in the same way that it is for us all personally. Like by the end of the year, we will not recognize the world we live in. The potential of this year for transformation is absolutely huge. But as I say, I think it's next year when Ireland really, it's like this year we're doing the hard work, and next year those freedoms begin to kick in. That I'm going to say that positive new age structure. At the moment, it this year it's kind of like you're caught in the ruins of the old falling apart, and how do we transit into the new? And that's what's going on this year. So I would very much encourage each and every one of you to put your energy into the new. Don't sit there bemoaning, oh my gosh, this isn't working, that isn't working. It's like, well, how can we make it work? This is the exciting potential of stepping into the new age as we are at the moment. But as I say, for Ireland, and now I'm going to talk about the next, I'm going to call it aspect of conflict that has been going on and will continue. Now let me just get this now. Let's try about now. Transit Bible now. Okay. So, what I want to talk to you about now is the planet Jupiter here. Now, Jupiter rules what we believe. Okay, and in the house here, I'm just trying to get those excuse me, aspect patterns in there. Now, Jupiter here, he is in conjunct to, sorry, Pluto has come in and is conjuncting Jupiter. Now, I said to you, outer planets are changing signs, and this is absolutely transformational, a very big, slow transformation for our whole world. Now, Lord Pluto is very much part of that transformation because he has entered into Aquarius, the sign of the new age, where he will dig deep and uncover all sorts of hidden information. And what he's doing here, he's sitting on the Jupiter of the natal Irish chart. Now, Jupiter here it's very much around what we believe, religious beliefs, what we're taught, education. It's also around the law, but it's also very much around finances and prosperity. Now, what I love, this beautiful Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is kind of like that quirky new age stuff. And when I sort of think back to the beliefs of Ireland, I'm thinking, leprechauns, the Tuatha De Danann that just sort of dematerialized into a different dimension. And it is like that, that there is a belief system here which is totally open to the magical and the new age. And yet I think Lord Pluto, when he comes along, I mean, his three key words are endings, transformation, and empowerment. So there is an ending coming to what the people believe and also how they find their financial security. There is a new security, and this is also to do with the earth and the planet, it's rather like how we get our prosperity, and what we believe is possible. So Pluto coming in here, there's an ending to what we believe. Now, Pluto is also coming in at this moment, and he is going to square Jupiter. Let me see if I can get that up. No, sorry, he's going to sit on Jupiter, and I got it there. Woohoo. He is squaring Mercury. And again, Mercury, it's what we think in the mundane chart. He actually rules the media. And again, he's in Taurus. So there's this, I'm going to say it's a mutual, although they're in square, they're in this challenging aspect, what we believe and how we think. They're in mutual reception because Jupiter is in the second house, and the second house is of Taurus. So they have an understanding that security is really, really important. And how we get it is through the earth, through the planet, through growing, through our agriculture. And Pluto is coming along and he's challenging that. He's saying there's an ending here. There's something which requires transformation in your understanding of what is possible. And I'm back to, I mean, when Lord Pluto comes in, I mean, his key word is death. He uncovers that which must be transformed. If there are any hidden, I'm going to say, he's Lord of power and power over. So if there has been any hidden manipulation of beliefs through the media, represented by Mercury, through manipulation of religious beliefs, anything which has been hidden along those lines of, I'm going to say, also he rules the education system and the law. So anything which is underhand will be revealed. This is what Pluto does. He's Lord of the underworld, and when he comes along to a planet, he opens up any can of worms which is there will be opened up and revealed for public scrutiny. And this is part of the ending. Actually, what's going on with the whole RTE thing could be part of that as well, because that Pluto square is square to Mercury. Mercury is the media. So this has been very prominent, and it's like the reason that this has been so prominent is because Mars here now. Mars actually, he right now is in retrograde. Now, what he did was at the beginning of the year, he came right forward. Now this started last year, and it got to the point where just over the new year, there was this Mars Pluto opposition where Mars was coming back. So we kind of went, it's rather Mars controls our drive, our anger, what we feel like we have to do. And up here, again, he's coming to oppose Jupiter, square Mercury, and he's also Mars opposite Pluto. I mean, Pluto's Lord of the Underworld, and Mars is, as I say, he's the war. Mars opposite Pluto, war, aggression, anger. So that it's rather like something would have come up at the beginning of the year over, I'm going to say, potential beliefs being manipulated by the media. And these are issues which are, I'm going to say, ongoing because Mars is going back there and goes right back to, I believe, 17 degrees of Cancer before he turns around and goes forward. And that is at the end of February. So what's happening is we're having a collective rethink around our beliefs and what we have been told. And this is also Mars, as he does come back here, he squares these guys, the North Node. Let me see if I can get that. The North Node, the Sun. Oh, excuse me. So annoying. The Sun and Venus. No, I'm not going to get that. The aspects there. So these guys, they represent in the natal Irish chart. I'm going to say they represent what I would call the real leaders of the chart. The North Node is conjunct the Sun and Mars, the fighting Irish. Also, Sun conjunct Venus. The North Node. The Sun is the leaders. The North Node is our destiny. They're in Aries. Mars is there. Aries is the warrior. We also have Sun conjunct Venus. This is all those amazing artists and musicians. Conjunct Mercury. All those amazing poets that come from Ireland. I mean, the list is endless. But these are our true leaders. So what's happening as Mars goes retrograde? He is squaring. He opposes Jupiter, what we're told, what we believe. Then he squares Mercury, the media. There are challenges around what we're told. And then he squares, I mean, interestingly enough, what I would call the true leaders of the country, as in the artists, the musicians, and the fighters, the warriors. And so there is a challenge from authority figures up here and what we're told with Mercury. And this challenges the true leaders. And funnily enough, I actually named one of them, as I'm going to say Barry McGuigan, but I actually mean Conor McGregor. And of course, again, we've got all this media hype around what did happen. And the truth, what I'm going to say to you is the truth will come out. The truth will be revealed because Pluto's sitting on Jupiter and Mars is going back. He's challenging, but as he goes forward from the end of at the end of February, there, sorry, he will reveal the truth. We will find our, I'm going to say, I think it's our righteous way forward will be revealed, and particularly for those true leaders. And that brings me kind of happily into talking about the nodes here, the North Node in the Irish natal chart, because we have this very, very powerful conjunction again going on all year of Chiron, the wounded healer, and Eris, I'm going to say our soul mission, and the female warrior sitting on that North Node, the Sun and Venus. Now, the way Chiron's called the wounded healer, and the way he works is as he comes along and he conjuncts a planet in our chart, he brings up those issues which are prevalent around that particular point. And we've just spoken about them, haven't we? We've spoken about this conflict over I'm going to say what we are told to believe and what is actually the truth about our leaders and our, I'm going to say, even especially the way forward for the country, because the Node is definitely um, the most positive way forward, the highest way forward that we can go. Now, Chiron here, as I say, as he comes along, he will expose any wounds and pain that are going on to the people of the country, to the leaders, and he does this so that we may heal those issues. Now, I'm going to say, this is an extremely karmic moment for the country because I'm going to say it can kind of go either way. It can either be dissolving into victimhood, which is very unlikely with all those that Aries energy there, or it can be we are exploring these wounds in order that we may find new leaders and heal them. Now, Eris is really, really interesting. Now, she is a female warrior woman, and she was discovered in 2005. We're learning about her energetic. We're learning as a female, as women, how do we stand up and take our power? Now, she also represents our soul mission. In her lower aspect, she is chaotic. So it could be that there's a bit of chaos around the health system. It could be that there are a lot of even physical wounds, demands on the healthcare system coming up to be resolved. There is something which needs to be uncovered around the truth of what we're being told. And this is the process we're going through now with Mars squaring also Chiron and Eris. So there is something to be revealed around our way forward and how to heal ourselves. Now, Eris is, as I say, she is the woman on a soul mission. In her on her lower aspect, as I say, it's absolute chaos. But as we step into her higher aspect, she is the warrior woman, and she is here to fight for truth, justice, and clarity. So there is a really powerful soul mission being revealed to, I'm going to say, to the women of the country about standing up and fighting for. There's so much in here about fighting for the children in who owns the children. And that is very much in the natal chart being highlighted at this time, actually by Jupiter here. Jupiter sitting opposite the Chiron Juno. And if you want to know that, I've put so much info in my reading of the natal Irish chart about that. So if you would like to look at that, I'll put the link in the description box below. But I just don't want to repeat that here. But really, there are a lot of wounds natally, and it's all about, I'm going to say, parental versus state control. And it looks to me like these issues are coming up again. And of course, we have the Tusla has been in the news, all these missing children. It looks to me like these might be the issues which are, and I'm going to say, where the way I see that Eris energy, it's like Mars, that male warrior energy. It can be ego, it can be anger. Eris is completely different. She fights for the children, she fights for the earth. She's the mother who can lift a bus because her child is underneath it. And when she is triggered, she is unstoppable because there is no choice. We have to save the children. So this tells me that very much we have these big challenges around what we believe versus what we're told. That this is, like I say, it's rather like Ireland is that battleground for the new age and how it comes in, how that structure comes in. Uh, um, but it seems as if it appears that there is a very strong place for the women. It is time that the women stand up and I would even say very much become the new leaders of the country. This is very much indicated by Eris sitting here. This is a karmic destiny sitting right on the North Node. And it is because that wound is triggered that the women are required to stand up because they have to save the children. This is their job. Now, I think the last thing I want to talk to you about here is I'm going to talk to you about that super magical because I said this is very challenging to the land, this transition into the new age which we're all going through now. that magical point, that total, I'm going to say, mysterious, magical, spiritual point of success, achievement, delight, happiness is here. And here we have, and this is part of the extraordinary transition we're going through, at 0 degree, sorry, 1 degree Aries. I'm looking at Black Moon Lilith. She's not actually here, sorry. I look her up individually. She's kind of out of the picture a bit. So anyway, 1 degree Aries, we have what is called the part of fortune. Now, the part of fortune is our place of happiness, delight, success, and also financial success and security, which is really interesting. Now, what we have here, see, we've got all these challenges around, I'm going to say, value and finances here with Pluto conjunct Jupiter. But what we have here we have both Neptune and Saturn this year, and this is a slow process. You know, this again comes into its own next year, and they both come on to sit on the part of fortune. So what I'm going to say is that amazing the good fortune of Ireland and the land, and also her warrior energetic, is being triggered this year. And there's kind of a but there. But it's a bit of a process, right? Now, Neptune and Saturn, I mean, again, we have these two contradictory planets. We've got Neptune is all boundaryless and the ocean and emotion and psychic sensitivity, and Saturn's all limitations and boundaries and structure. And then we have this point, 0 degrees Aries. Now, this is the cardinal point in the whole of the world chart. And this indicates new beginnings. I mean, I'm like on a whole massive world scale, like as do all the three outer planets changing signs. And this year they're kind of at their endings and new beginnings. So it's like the worst and the best coming in. Um, like this zero Neptune Saturn come Neptune again, this is our spirituality, this is our higher understanding, which has been revealed to us as Neptune has gone through Pisces, and Saturn has followed Neptune through Pisces, grounding us in those, I'm going to say, daily spiritual practices. Well, all of this is going to trigger the good fortune of Ireland. I'm going to say that higher spiritual connection. And remember that this is not just the warrior energetic, but this is in the fourth house of the home, the family, and the land. So the words that are coming into my mouth are the spiritual warrior. And there is something very powerful that let me describe how Neptune works. When he comes along, he tends to work by loss. And of course, if as we head into this new age, there must be an ending. And I think there is an ending of an old structure here. And we are bringing in this new, higher spiritual structure. And Ireland already has this, it's something to do with this connection with the land. It's funny, I mentioned both Tuatha Danann and the leprechauns, and it is that magical understanding of the beauty of the land, of that spiritual, that Neptune, higher spiritual connection. Saturn grounding that higher spiritual connection. Now, what is quite fascinating is that as these three outer planets come in, I wish I could show you on this. I'll do my best. We have Neptune here, Uranus here, and Pluto here. Now, together, these guys make the top of a kite. So as soon as we have a planet in opposition to Neptune right here and at 0 to 5 degrees of Libra, we have a kite. Now, the kite is like the highest potential of us to reach that we know of. In astrology, there's always more to learn at the moment. So we know that, but it's very hard to get off the ground. So this tells me that Ireland is very much part of a higher spiritual potential which is coming in, but it's going to be really hard work to lift that kite. So this tells me again, we have a special mission here in Ireland, which is that, I'm going to say, connecting, grounding. It's like if Saturn is grounding us in the earth. I'm actually feeling energy going down through my feet, my roots, and up into the sky, because that is the way that we lift this. I'm going to say the whole system, I'm going to say the whole world into this new age, golden age that are going through, that we are entering into. And the way to do it is through this Neptune Saturn conjunction right at 0 degrees Aries. It's at the top of the kite, and it is on the part of fortune in Ireland. Ireland has a magical part to play in connecting with the land, with the history, and with the roots. Okay. However, it's going to take, I'm going to say, like I say, I don't think it's until next year that we really begin to see almost like the fruit of this transformation. I think we'll see it individually, but I think politically it's going to take at least a year for this to shift. And it's going to be 2026 before we really begin to see the fruits of this transformation. So challenging year for Ireland, for the Irish state and her people, and yet the potential is the highest. We are truly stepping into the golden age at this time, and this beautiful little island here holds a magical key. And it's up to each of us individually to connect to that highest potential, to focus on those new beginnings and bring us through this challenging year into the openings of next.